Hey guys, welcome to Jack's Treasures.
Welcome everybody to What? Not Another Reselling Podcast. Our podcast focuses on the live portion of reselling. We don't edit anything. The video comes out raw, and we try not to sugarcoat or blow too much smoke. We just want to bring you the truth about live selling. Today we're talking to someone best known as an Amazon and Walmart seller who has developed a live selling business that is growing bigger and better every week.
That's right. Our guest, and I have been so excited about this since we talked about getting him on there, is Tommie, the Buffalo Picker. Baby, go ahead.
Buffalo!
She wanted to do it. There it is, right there. Tommie and his wife are sellers on Whatnot. They sell anything that goes from electronics, toys, video games, and other things. And almost everything that they sell, guys, is brand new and packaged with low stars. Man, if you think you can get deals from Jack's Treasures, I ain't got shit compared to this man over here, man. He's really got it. He also is the co-host of a podcast that comes out live every Sunday night called Defend the Hustle. I think it comes on at 7 o'clock, sometimes 6 o'clock, sometimes 8 o'clock, depending on people's schedules. But it is probably one of my favorite ones that I miss all the time because I have my Whatnot shows.
Right.
But I keep trying to pop in on all of those. He's also the very first YouTube reseller that we have ever met in person, technically. And Tracy was the one that met him. I didn't even meet him. I didn't even know anything about him. I saw him walking around and I saw this camera outfit or like that. He gave me the nickname, and we're going to find out about this now. He gave me the nickname of the whale shark, okay? Because we liquidated an estate sale that he was shopping and in recording in.
We're like the minnow shark.
Yeah, we're like the little minnows and stuff like that in that big pond. But I do have a first question that I do have to ask for Tommie. How did you come up with the name Buffalo Picker? And introduce yourself.
Okay. Sorry. I am Buffalo Picker. I've been reselling since 2017. I got into the resale game. I was actually returned back to college around 49, trying to put myself in a position to get promoted at my federal job. So they had a spokesperson there, Steve Harvey, the comedian.
Okay.
And, he was basically giving us a life coaching speech, and he said one of the things that he remembered when he talked to Warren Buffett was that you got to have several streams of income if you want to get rich. And I was like, I was counting up mine, so I got 3. So I went home and got on YouTube, and I ran across a reseller named Reezy Resales. And he's out of California, and he was talking about he made $600 and some $1,000 just selling books. So I started following him. I started following Bearded Picker out of Alabama.
Scott,
Yep. And I was just listening to, this resale thing because I would always sit around and watch American pickers, go around the country, finding antiques and things, unique stuff to sell. And I was like, man, that would be nice right there if I could do something like that. So the more I watched those guys, I think I stayed on the fence for about 3 months. And I was like, let me just go try some of this stuff they're talking about. So I went into Marshall's. I bought an item. Paid $10 and did all of the little tools, comps that they told me to do. And I put it on eBay. And in 3 days, that thing sold for $40. And I was hooked. After that. I was like, oh, yeah, I could do this right here, So that's what intrigued me to get into reselling. And how I came up with my name was I seen all these guys with these different names, special names or whatever. And I was like, retired military. And I'm a big fan of the Buffalo Soldier. They got a history with the American military. So I just say, you know what? I'm going to use the name Buffalo and then Picker, like got it from American Pickers,
Right.
And that's how I came up with the name. A lot of people, when I first came on the scene, oh, you from Buffalo? Well, we can hook up in Buffalo. No, I'm not from Buffalo. I'm from Atlanta. But, that's how I came up with the name Buffalo Picker.
That is awesome. Oh, by the way, I need to say first off, thank you for your service. I did read that you were a military veteran, as am I also. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
And he probably does get the same thing that Paul the Philly Flipper gets, because Paul doesn't live in Philadelphia anymore. He lives in Florida, and Buffalo's in Atlanta.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, you kind of covered the how did you start reselling question for us before we even got to it, but I'm going to do the follow-up. How and why did you start with the live selling?
Yes.
With the who?
Live selling on Whatnot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I got a warehouse that I do my business out of. And, I just got things. It's no different than like you all. Sometimes y'all come across stuff that you just don't want to process on a platform. You just want to, do a quick sale. So I have excess items that I just know that I will probably won't get around to put them on the different platforms that I sell on. So I was like, let me find another outlet that I could sell. So I started out on Whatnot like 3 years ago, selling video games and a few little small things. But as I assessed my warehouse, I was like, I got a lot of items that's just sitting here in case packs and, things that I have accumulated over the last few years that I'm just not going to be able to get to and process. So let me just take this excess and try to move it on Whatnot. So that's what led me back to Whatnot, because when I started out on Whatnot, I mean it went pretty well for me. I was on Whatnot before the customer had to pay for shipping. When I came to Whatnot, the seller would have to manage the shipping. So but yeah, that's what led me to Whatnot to start doing the lives. I mean, I knew I could do the lives. I mean, I watch. It's no different than how I got into the resale game on Amazon, eBay. I came out to Whatnot and I watched different sellers, their little techniques, their little blueprints on how they do the sale. And I just took a little bit from everybody and kind of put my little thing together.
Explain to us a little bit on how do you do your sourcing, and where are you mostly selling at right at now, if we had to say?
Right. So a lot of my reselling sourcing techniques come now from just experience.
And I am writing down notes. You can give me locations. That'd be great.
We don't need details.
So, hey, Jack. So when I say I'm trying to think about how I can carefully craft this now. But a lot of my reselling, my sourcing come from a lot of experience that I have from over the years. So it's repetition. I go in these different stores. And I got a couple of websites that I go to and I try to track items. I do have a paid subscription to a Discord that also assists. Another tool that I use to assist to find products as well. But on the most part, you got to put boots on the ground if you retail arbitrage.
Absolutely.
Now, if you are online arbitrage, I mean, that's a good move as well. But it's limited. It used to be back, say, 2017, 2019, online arbitrage was great, because a lot of people wasn't in there trying to find the deals. You didn't have these little, what you call them, bots that could go out and find stuff, and, you can buy the whole lot or whatever. But those bots is not going to leave your house and go into the stores. You physically got to go into the store. So that's normally what I do. Now that I'm retired, I do it even more. I go out to, I have a system of places that I go, and I don't source the whole store. I just go into certain areas, 10, 15 minutes, I'm out, go to another store, and I know what I'm looking for. I'm pretty much got a list the things that I'm looking for. And every now and then I'll go in these stores and I'll see something that is not on my list. And, if it comes well, I'll go ahead and grab that as well. And then now it become on my list and I'll be looking for that in another store as well. So it's just repetition, the more you get into reselling, you will know that you got to get out and get into these stores. You can't just sit back and wait for a bolo or, go on to online arbitrage and think you're going to, sustain your business by doing that. You got to have different avenues. Like, a couple of years ago, I moved over into liquidation, which I wasn't doing liquidation at all. But then I was like, I need more inventory. So in order for me to scale up, I got to find different places to source outside of the just the big box stores. So that's what I do. I just find different places where I can go and source. I got one place that I don't think probably 10% of resellers go into this one location, the source. And because they constantly got stuff. And I'm like, when I go in there, I always seeing fresh inventory. So I'm like, maybe it's not a whole lot of resellers know about this place. But that's what I try to do. I try to find places that a lot of people don't go.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
It's amazing that you were talking about the online arbitrage. Tracy did a lot of that at the very, very beginning. You've been a reseller since what,
1998?
Yeah, 98.
Yeah. Well, I sold eBay to eBay. I would buy lots on eBay, break it up, and sell it when my daughter was young, and I didn't have time to go out and source any other way. Right. And I was constantly having orders coming in and splitting it up and selling it back out.
Right.
Yeah, and that's actually how we met, Tommie, is at an estate sale that I ended up liquidating, and it's the only estate sale that we've ever fully liquidated in an estate sale at that time.
Right.
And he gave me the nickname of the whale shark. And if I can, I'm going to try to see if I can link down the video down there below on Tommie's channel, which we're going to have linked down to all of Tommie's channels on in the description, so you can go check them out. And one of the amazing things is he gives bolos every single weekend on Defend the Hustle. He will give out bolos. And it was amazing because he gave out these one bolos about some stuff. And he said, this is a big Godzilla. I got it at Walmart. And sure enough, Tracy and I go to Walmart. That's right down the street from our house. And I'm like, there they are right there.
Yep.
So I was like, wow, his bolos are real. Now, Tommie does live in the Atlanta area, but he doesn't live close to us. We actually live on the west side of Atlanta. And Tommie, I think you live on the
kind of south,
a little south of Barnesville area.
I'm more
Fayetteville. Yeah.
So, well, that's where my business at, but I live like towards Noonan.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I got you. So it is amazing. It's amazing that we haven't crossed paths since that one time right there because of we have just started doing our retail arbitrage.
Yeah.
Okay. What first drew you from or what first drew you to Amazon, and then drew you to what you probably did cover over to Whatnot, but how would you compare the two platforms of Amazon and Walmart to live selling on Whatnot?
Right. What drew me was I pretty much, like I said, I started watching guys that had the experience, and they always saying the same thing. If you want to learn how to resell, start out with eBay, figure out how to deal with customers, and then graduate up to Amazon if that's what you want to do. So I was like, in order to scale up where I can sell multiple quantities of items, I need to learn this the way with eBay, and then move up to Amazon. That was my ultimate goal. To get with Walmart, it was just one day I was watching the video and somebody was saying third-party resellers can sell on Walmart. So I investigated and figured out, what all their requirements was. And then I got, to become a Walmart seller, which, their requirement is extremely more difficult than just, becoming an Amazon seller, because Amazon, all they want is your premium, and then, they open up the door for you pretty much. But Walmart, they want to see some selling history. So the good thing was I was able to, get onto Amazon, build my numbers up. And once I was able to present those numbers to them, they were like, welcome aboard. So, but the comparison is like night and day. Amazon is like a well-oiled machine. Do I like all their policies and stuff? I don't. However, they are the breadwinner for me. And Walmart is a close second. Walmart pretty much, they trying to become an Amazon in the online arbitrage, selling to customer world, whatever. But they're not there yet. They're like a baby trying to get started, but they're making some leaps and bounds. I'm starting to see some of the things I like with how they do business. But being an experienced Amazon third-party reseller, I can see a lot of the things that they're taking from Amazon and adding it to their blueprint to make it their own. So they're coming along. We talked, some of the resellers that sell on Walmart, we talked about this a couple of years ago, that we got to give them time. Anybody starting out with something, you got to give them time to catch up and get everything together. And I think that's what they are doing now. And they're bringing in some of the Amazon policies that we kind of frowning on a little bit too. It just the fees hadn't caught up yet, and we thankful for that. Now when you take Amazon, Walmart, and you compare it to Whatnot, it's a whole different animal, because you don't have the opportunity to do flash sales and sudden death and all these quick type just take an item and move it type thing with those platforms. You got to go through the process of putting your stuff on the platform, wait for a customer to buy it, then ship it to them, or ship everything into the fulfillment center and have the fulfillment center ship your items out to the customer. So it's a whole different animal, but I love Whatnot. I mean, it's like when I started out with Whatnot 3 years ago, it was so. I was like, I don't really, find things to sell, starting it out at $1 or $2 or whatever. But when I did a reassessment about 6 months ago, I started the Whatnot in June, but I've been like planning this since January. Because I was looking at all the stuff I had, and I was like, I ain't gonna get around to putting this stuff on those platforms. Let me just try to do the quick sale. So that's when I started just going out watching Philly Flipper, watching other people, because I didn't even know you all was on Whatnot until that few weeks ago when y'all came on the show and said y'all had a Whatnot show. I didn't know. But there was a couple of people that I did know that was on Whatnot, because I seen their YouTube videos saying, we do Whatnot, I made this much money on Whatnot, this and that. So I would go watch their videos and just see how they move on the platform. And then it's like June came around, it's like, this probably the time I need to go ahead and start. So
basically, he said that he knows nothing about us and has never watched any of our videos or any of our things on that. Hey, thanks for coming on, Tommie. We really do appreciate that.
That ain't true. That is not true.
Which is why, excuse me, which is why we call ourselves the biggest little sellers on Whatnot, because not a lot of people know us. Tracy's going to go get me a drink of water there. But that is. We hear a lot about that people don't know about Whatnot. And what you were saying about Whatnot about 2 or 3 years ago, everybody was saying that on YouTube. I mean, Phil Flipper was saying that. Ray the Nashville Flipper was saying that. Even Kevin the Commonwealth Picker was talking about how bad Whatnot was and that you can't make any money at it or anything like that. I mean, that was a very, very common thing, because it was a different platform that was not static listing. and everybody was static listing, where Whatnot is definitely not that static listing platform. Right. You want to ask that question right there, and then I'll go back up to that one.
How do you handle inventory differently when you're doing Whatnot sales versus handling inventory for, say, Amazon or Walmart?
Yeah. Well, Walmart and Amazon, you definitely got to be concerned about the condition of the product. So when we get that stuff in, we basically handling it with care. We don't want to drop it, and we don't want to handle it any differently than we will want the customer to receive it in the condition the customer would receive it. So when we bring in items to sell on Amazon, I have to determine, if am I going to sell it from the warehouse, or am I going to go ahead and pack it and ship it off to Amazon. So the process of how we handle Amazon goods is a tad different than the way we handle the Walmart goods. Now, for us, the conditioning, we always concerned about the conditioning, because any little small blemish, Amazon customers will complain. So, so we definitely try to, handle our product with care. But as far as how we process it, is that the question? Is how we process it?
Yeah. Just do you handle it the same? Like, do you keep it on stock?
Do you have different areas in your warehouse where you say, okay, well, this stuff is going to go over to Walmart, this stuff's going to go to Amazon. We're just going to put this one right here to Whatnot or eBay, whatever that may be.
Right. So I do have it separated in the warehouse. Now, as far as Amazon and Walmart, I kind of mix that, especially for my fulfillment. For if it's fulfilled by myself, then I can take it, list it, put it in the same container, and I'll know what's supposed to go to Walmart and what's supposed to go to Amazon according to my books, right? According to what I have on my laptop. Now, when it comes to eBay, I have a total different section in the warehouse for eBay. Everything that goes for eBay, I got a big shelf and a couple containers that handle all my eBay, which is not a lot, because I don't sell a lot on eBay. It's mostly things that are returned that I really don't. I know I can't push it back to Walmart or Amazon, and then I just list that stuff and put it on eBay. But now, since I've been selling on Whatnot, I pretty much am kind of changed directions with that as well. If it's something that I know I can move on Whatnot, and I pretty much probably had 15 or 20 of them that made my money, I'll take it and push it on Whatnot, $2 start. Because the thing what I learned watching everybody move is the condition is really not the issue with the buyer on Whatnot. They want to see, long as you basically tell them what's the issue with that item, then they're going to determine whether or not they're going to buy it. So I learned that early watching people like, oh, they're going to buy that thing busted, and they're like, but, the seller's basically telling them that, it's issue with the box, or it may be missing a part or whatever, and people were still buying it. So I was like, instead of trying to push this on eBay and, I already made my margins, just let me just move it on over to Whatnot and push it on out the warehouse. And that's what I do.
Yeah, I'm telling you that it's probably one of the things what Buffalo was just talking about was probably one of the biggest benefits to that live selling is that you are moving that thing off of that shelf, and now you have that shelf available for more inventory, more retail arbitrage, Whatnot, or if you liquidate it in the estate sale or buy a storage unit, we buy storage units too. That you need the space for all of that stuff, and you've already said that you got a warehouse, so and that's just amazing.
What strategies that you use over on Amazon and Walmart have helped you as you're building your Whatnot business?
Well, so I pretty much use the same strategy on both platforms. And as of probably 2 weeks ago, I don't know if y'all was able to come through and see the Defend the Hustle, but we was discussing that right now. I'm in the middle of changing my business model as far as getting goods out to the different platforms. Before, I would take a lot of my high-end items, keep it in the warehouse on the shelf and just wait for my price to come.
Right.
I would ship it out to the customer. So for people that don't know, that is, fulfilled by merchant. That's myself shipping it out to the customer. But now, what I'm doing in the warehouse is I'm in the middle of taking everything I have in the warehouse that I pretty much had listed on Amazon and Walmart, and I'm shipping it out to the fulfillment centers to create space in the warehouse. Because now, compared to a couple weeks ago, I was fully on retail arbitrage. I have a blank there. Okay. I'm retail arbitrage, but now I have contacts that bring in liquidation pallets, and these are pretty much case packed toys that you would find at Targets or Walmart into the warehouse, so I can break this stuff down and sell it and ship it to the different places, and have items that I don't want to ship sell on whatnot. So that is my new business model right now that I'm working on.
Wow.
So awesome. The last 2 weeks I've been heavily shipping to Amazon or Walmart fulfillment center. Matter of fact, today I have 300 plus items that I packed to ship to Amazon, and then tomorrow I'm working on about 200 items that I'm shipping to Walmart. So today was Amazon, tomorrow is Walmart, and then Friday I may do another shipment to Walmart. So trying to clean that place out.
And he calls me the whale shark right here. And listen to what the man is saying. This is stuff that he has not sent in already. He's already set stuff in.
Yeah,
so you're talking about thousands and thousands of pieces of inventory. Right. And I love hearing that part of business. Because it gives us a lot of ideas.
Right. I'm sorry. So right now I have just so we can say a number amount. Right now I have 2,900 plus active listings on Walmart, and what I'm doing is converting those listings into shipments to send to Walmart to sell for me and get them out of the warehouse. And on the Amazon side, I'm probably around 7,000 that I'm converting to ship to Amazon on top of the items that are already there and the case packs that I haven't even opened. So it's a lot I got to do, and I feel like in the next 2 months, I'll be where I need to be.
I know when you're working with like Amazon and Walmart and stuff, you're really prepping far ahead for that fourth quarter. We tend to wait till fourth quarter and they're like, "Ooh, let's pull this out and sell it." But when you're doing sites like that, you really have to start planning ahead. You're thinking about fourth quarter in May, June.
And we had talked to Buffalo on his podcast, Defend the Hustle podcast, about how Amazon has gated Tracy and I out of so many categories and so many brands that it literally came to a point where we just can't do it anymore.
Which we were very small time over there compared to people, but we've been there
compared to Buffalo, we were definitely a little minnow in the pond.
We've been there a long time and had the items that we very successfully sold, and right now I have nothing on Amazon for the first time in
so
it's literally we had items that we would ship in. We would sell those items, and then a year later, or actually it's been happening over about the last 6, 7, 8 months? They literally have gated us out of all of these things, are sending our products back to us. And it's like, wow, it just seems to me that Amazon is taking that approach. If they want those bigger sellers like yourself and D Middleman in there and all of y'all, And us smaller folk, they just say, well, you know what? The amount of time and effort that we have into them is not producing the amount that Buffalo Picker is producing.
And that's when we've been very blessed that Whatnot has come along and allowed us to move the inventory that we did have.
Yeah.
Right. So Jay, we've been kicked off different brands as well. And brands that I've been kicked off of brands that I actually submitted invoices for in order to sell products. So we have been kicked off. We don't talk about it a lot on the show. Because we don't want to discourage people.
That was Buffalo trying to call me. It had an Atlanta number.
I think it was a spam risk.
Yeah, so we just don't talk about it a lot on the show. But we Middleman, myself, we've been kicked off quite a few brands. Now, I don't know this for 100%, but what I assume is a lot of the brands I didn't get kicked off from Amazon because I was shipping in a lot of those items to them.
Right.
So, like for instance, and I'm not gonna call out the product because I don't know if they wanted me to say that, but I'm gonna say like his wife, she got kicked off a big brand that she was ungated in, but the reason she was kicked out because she hadn't sent none of that type brand into the fulfillment center in over a year. So I don't know what kind of matrix they used to determine whether or not they was going to kick people off. But case in point, when they kicked me off of Hasbro Gaming, I went in, found my distributor again, bought the 100 items like they said, submit the invoice with the 100 items, sent the photos, sent the picture of the box, let them know I did get the inventory. They still rejected it.
Wow.
Yeah, I did everything, the little check mark they tell you to do, I did all of that and they still rejected it. So $300 plus into a item and they didn't take the invoice. And it was a authorized distributor. So that I don't know what kind of games they got going on right now, but I project that probably in another year or so, they're gonna auto correct some of that stuff.
Yeah, you also, if I'm not mistaken, were predicting that Walmart would probably be surpassing even Amazon in the near future, just based on the fact that they have that distribution capabilities far greater than Amazon does. Because
their distributor, their distribution system right now is way better than Amazon's system. Amazon's system, and if you shipped anything to the fulfillment center, you could be right here in Georgia and they'll have you shipping stuff to Illinois or Texas or California, on their behalf. But they charge you.
It used to be a lot worse about that. I feel like it's gotten a little better in the last few years.
Where did we send those last ones to?
Charlotte.
Mostly to Charlotte.
Yeah, so I used to be Charlotte. I used to be Charlotte and Charlotte too. Those used to be my spots. But here in the last 6 months, I've been shipping to Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Texas, sometime to Florida, and out to Oakland, California. Never back to I haven't shipped to North Carolina in like 2 years with them. But with Walmart, on the other hand, when you ship to the fulfillment center, they're going to ship it to local places here in Atlanta. You're going to either go to South Fulton or you're going to go to Carrollton, Georgia, where they already have their distribution centers set up. Those distribution centers, and you probably know this already, those are old distribution centers. They didn't have to rebuild. They just added on and then brought everything in. So that's great for the reseller because it's a short turnover to get your item listed onto the platform.
Or you can just bring it to Whatnot and sell it like super fast.
You can do that too. You can do that.
I had to know. I literally bought some of Buffalo's stuff, and don't tell them.
Okay.
I sold them on our platform for a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Yeah. Hey, you got to every time change hands, the money got to go up.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I love that. We sell to a lot of people that then turn around and sell the stuff on eBay.
Yes,
and
right.
things, and it always makes me happy.
And I tell everybody right off the bat, I said, look, I'm selling this stuff right now. I'm starting it off at $1. If it goes for $1 and I make 30 cents, do believe me when I tell you I made 30 cents because I have nothing into this stuff anymore. Well, get back to our questions is, have you faced any challenges with growth, either growing too fast or too slow? And how did you adjust to those?
Yeah. So, when you trying to start a business up and get your feet on the ground, there's going to be a lot of challenges. It's going to be basically, being prior military, man, it's all about how you handle the adversities. And when I got into the warehouse space, I had these big ideals that, oh man, we got all this space, we finna grow, we finna get big. And my first load that I got into the warehouse almost killed my business. It was a truckload of 10,000. I think cost me $10,500. I got 24 pallets in, and that whole day I'm just like, filled with joy, happy, like, yeah, we finna, we about to make, break some ground. And once we start breaking those pallets down, it was just basically trash. It was like I think the most expensive thing I found in there was a projector that was selling on Amazon for $2,500. Everything else I had to basically break down those pallets. It was more trash than actually goods that I could sell. Mm-hmm. However, I did break even because I basically, had to either know that I was gonna, surpass this, get past it, or I was gonna break. And I'm not gonna lie, those things was going through my mind every day. Like, what's in the next pallet? What's in the next pallet? Every pallet, it was just, you might find one or two items in there that was, resellable, but the other stuff was like basically you could just, even Goodwill didn't want the stuff. You just couldn't put it in the trash. So that was probably my lowest moment in reselling. When I felt that I was gonna, do this big thing and get to be a big reseller or whatever and move all these tons of items, I got a reality check. And I was at the point where, I will always talk about perseverance. I was at the point where I could have just easily quit. I could have just said, you know what, I had just moved in the warehouse. They give you 90 days to determine whether or not you want to stay or go. And I was right there about the 30-day mark. And I was like, just sitting there wondering what I'm going to do. Because it was just like every pallet was a disappointment. So, basically what I had to do was, adapt and overcome. That's what I did. I said, you know what? We're going to get all these shelves up. I brought me some guys in. We got the shelves up. And then I had them to break whatever we could salvage, break it down into categories, housewares, toys, whatever else, over on this side, electronics. And I had a sale. I opened up the warehouse for 2 weeks, just ran a sale, just make me an offer. So, he came in, like, how much you did? I like, just make me an offer. Give me a fair offer, just kind of negotiate a little bit and was able to, some of the items, like I said, there was some items in there that had high dollar and I was shipping it off to Amazon, making a good return. But at the end of the day, for me not quitting, I was able to break even with the 10.5 that I had put into that. And one day I was just standing in the warehouse after I had got majority of that stuff out, got the trash out, and now looking at empty shelves, with a whole lot of floor space. And I was just like, Almighty, if you could just help me get past this right here. One day I want to see this whole warehouse full of good inventory. And that's where I'm at now.
That is awesome.
I'm laughing because Tracy keeps marking off because you keep answering our questions, which is awesome. We love it.
That's what I keep doing. I was like, well, that one's done. That one's done.
And she keeps marking off her questions too. Like I got my little sheets up here. And she keeps marking off. I love hearing this type of story because we were the same way. Even when we bought out that estate sale, we were euphoric. I mean, I just spent like $8,000 and I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm going, man, this stuff is great. And then the reality sets in. I got to rent a truck. I brought my son on to help me unload all this
We've got 4,000 Harlequin romance books. What are we going to do with them?
Right. Oh my gosh. I got French comics. I can't read French to begin with. What am I going to do with all of this stuff? We just got lucky in that COVID happened right after that. Yeah. And when that happened, it came about. Man, I do not know. I swear to you, and I'm giving you all of the props in the world on this one, Tom. I do not believe that if me and Tracy had faced an obstacle that grand, we could have overcome that. To overcome, and even just breaking even. Okay, when you shell out $10,000, okay, you really are expecting a huge amount of return on that $10,000. And when you break even with it and said, well, that was $10,000 I could have used on other things, it definitely made a lot of money.
We've had that in smaller stage, storage units that we were hoping to break even on, but thankfully nothing of that magnitude.
Oh, I love when Tommie said that he has a warehouse that's full of good inventory, because we had a warehouse too. We had a retail warehouse too. And we filled that sucker with storage unit stuff in about 3 days.
Right.
That's an exaggeration. Probably about 1 month. It was so full, we couldn't get through anything. Yeah. We could not move on anything. We had to just wash our hands.
We had to say that we cannot handle having a warehouse that big. And that's why we work in a small space.
Yeah, we've actually downsized and grown. Right. And Tracy and I don't know, have we ever talked about the fact that at one time we were thinking about quitting Whatnot? Have we ever talked about that on here?
Maybe. I can't recall. But
I don't recall either. But we were very, very close to quitting Whatnot altogether. And it wasn't because we weren't selling, because we were. It wasn't because we weren't making money, because we were doing that too. But boring. It just wasn't fun.
Right.
It was not fun at all. And you can tell by talking to Tommie, I could tell that there's a level of enjoyment of going out and finding these deals and finding that retail arbitrage and sending that thing into Amazon, Walmart, or selling it on Whatnot, and you just making that money and knowing it's like, that is why I do this. That is why.
Yeah, that's why I believe I didn't quit, because my love for the resale game was stronger than my failure. So that's why I really believe I didn't quit. I really love reselling, and you could tell through the history of watching resellers that comes and go, is that if you just coming in to try to make the quick money, you're gonna crash and burn. You're gonna make some quick money, but it's not gonna be all the time. And then maybe those 1 or 2 times that it doesn't happen and you can't handle it, and you're gonna quit.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of that happened during the COVID. When COVID happened, everybody's business spiked up. We have had a lot of guests on here that literally have said, "Oh yeah, we started selling in 2019, 2020, 2022." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you're starting at the most premium time in the history of reselling, static reselling on eBay or wherever it may be. That is the peak. I mean, but now half of them are gone because they don't know how to source. They don't know how to sustain. And to me, the biggest one is they don't know how to source. because they were seeing all of those prices and thinking that those prices that they were getting for those items, like the books that we had talked about earlier that we got in the estate sales, that we can't get that now.
Right.
You know, what we got it all in. So for us, it was one of those things is people were expecting to get that same margin after everything started to settle down again. And so they're buying at a higher price, expecting to make that higher price. And then it just wasn't happening right there.
Yep.
What advice would you give Amazon sellers who are thinking about giving Whatnot a try?
Well, first of all, don't expect the same type of money. That would be the first thing, is take some of the value out of your goods. Don't come into Whatnot with your premium items, because the money is not going to be there. Now, if you got some overstock items and you sourcing, places where you can get your goods for a reasonable price, then go ahead and come on over to Whatnot and use that as another out to move your inventory. But one thing I do know,
use Jack's Treasure's link. Use Jack's Treasure's link. I know all you Amazon sellers all stick together, but use Jack's Treasure's.
But one thing I know about a lot of Amazon sellers that I done met throughout my time is they want max dollar.
Right.
And Whatnot may not be the place for them. Unless you got, like I said, if you got the excess overstock inventory that you just know that you can't put your hands on for the next 6 months or a year, and it's not your premium stuff, come on over there and sell that stuff, get it out the way, get the money, and then replenish some of the goods that you can know that you can sell on those other platforms, or just tuck it away. Use that as a place where you can move that stuff, take that capital, tuck it away for some major big purchase. That's the only advice I could give Amazon reseller, because I know I've been in the room in conversations with a lot of Amazon resellers that is not on YouTube, but they are moving a lot of goods, and these guys are like super greedy. They super greedy. They don't. If they try to sell a pencil, they want $10.
Well, that's the way it is on Amazon for some of those oddball items. I can think of ones that we've had in the past that we wouldn't get that price for the stuff anywhere else.
Yeah,
but on Amazon, it seems like a deal.
Yeah, and we do a lot of arbitrage on Amazon.
We actually
and we're literally buying our stuff on Amazon.
Right.
And we got one of our best items are Loungefly bags.
You got have a business account on Amazon?
What's that?
Do you have the business account?
We did. We did. I was business for 10 years, and I just downgraded about 2 months ago.
Oh, okay. So you already know what I'm talking about, the bulk buying.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that. I wait till like October when Amazon trying to get rid of a lot of inventory. And once I get the plug, I go in and buy 400 items or whatever, for.
And he calls me the whale shark, guys. This is I swear to God, I need a mirror. Just hold up a mirror right here, Tommie.
I'll tell you, hey, Jack. I'll tell you, man. I had you like Bigfoot out there when you bought that whole house, man. I'll tell you, I just, it's like, it's probably like a person that say they seen Bigfoot, because I was so in awe that somebody just came in here and bought the whole house, and I came and I'm leaving out there with 2 items. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, who is this dude? But
I was just tickled to meet a YouTuber, because I've been watching all the YouTube resellers, and I was like, oh my gosh, I met a famous YouTuber.
Tracy did all of the YouTube, and every time she asked me, she says, here, look at this one guy and check this out. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. She goes, no, listen to this one. I'm good. I'm all right. I know. I want to listen to my music videos or whatever it may be that I'm going to listen to, and she was the one who actually pushed it toward us, which is one of the reasons why we did not quit Whatnot. We went to a meetup in Nashville, hosted by Ray, the Nashville Flipper. And that was 2 years ago.
Right.
And we went to the meetup, And the day we went to the meetup, I had surgery on my neck. I had cancer surgery. So I had some skin cancer removed from my neck. And my whole face was numb. I was highly medicated. I was like out of it. And we weren't there, but what, 5 minutes? And I made a complete jackass out of myself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. At least to Scott, the bearded picker.
He did,
literally
actually.
to Scott, the bearded picker. Scott's forgiven me for it and everything, which is amazing because I saw him again last year or this last one.
Yeah.
But we met up with Paul, and Paul asked us to be a part of his raid train, and then Paul gave us the advice, and that's one of the things that for me you want to talk about a turnaround. Somebody that was a stone when it came to reselling. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to do. This is what I'm doing. I don't want to hear what about anybody else. I flipped that completely around to now I'm a sponge. So I watch your show and I listen and I sit there and I go, all right, I see how he's doing this. I want to try to figure out doing this. We've done a lot more retail arbitrage because of you. Okay. And we go to different stores because you've turned us on to that. We went to, what was it? GameStop last year, right around.
I'm sure he's well aware of the GameStop.
Oh yeah, GameStop was doing a deal where they were doing their clearance items. You buy one, you get 3 for free. Yeah. And we went and hit every GameStop in the Atlanta area. I almost went completely around Atlanta.
We actually didn't go south. We went.
No, yeah, we didn't. Well, we did go a little bit south.
Yeah.
We did go a little bit south because that's where we bought the jacket and then ended up leaving the jacket at.
What time of year was it? Like it was January?
Right at Christmas.
It was right at Christmas, so it was before January.
Week of Christmas.
It was like 2 weeks before Christmas.
I normally go to GameStop. Well, I go different times, but the main time I go is right after New Year's. Right after New Year's.
Stuff then, but
right after New Year's
was the week of.
Say again now.
We were doing well then, but I think the best we did was the week of Christmas.
Yeah, it was literally buy one and get 3 for free. Right. So that's like 4 items. So we're buying these Loungefly bags for $40, and I get 4 of them.
Right.
For $40. Okay. Well, now I'm down to $10 a piece. You know.
Right.
Now I'm grabbing every single thing I could possibly find.
All right, we're on a little bit of a time crunch.
We are.
Let's keep moving.
Right, I'm going to do this one. We are going to do our What's Up section. Those were our questions and answers for Tommie. Thank you so much for all of those. That great insight, guys. And if you are an Amazon seller and you want to reach out, check him out on Instagram. I will actually link down his Instagram down there because I'm going to bombard him with all of these things so that he can give out that advice. Because seriously, the man knows what he's talking about. This is our What's Up section where we're going to talk about some What's Up things that are going on around in general reselling right now. The first thing that we want to talk about, we're only going to talk about one thing. We're going to talk about 2. We're going to talk about 1. The eBay Open was last week in Nevada. Okay, there's been a lot of reseller content videos showing up on YouTube. One of the sellers did actually a live show from the Open. I will let you know. Tracy and I have still been not approved to sell live on eBay, and we have applied. We applied well over a year ago now,
right?
But they're being very, very protective of that. My question for you would be: have you ever been to an eBay Open or I know Whatnot or not Whatnot? Walmart did an Open also. I think Brandon, Big Time Flips went to that. Have you ever been to any of those or any sponsored meetups by eBay, Whatnot, or Amazon?
No, I haven't been to any. There have been several resellers type meetups that I was kind of contemplating on going to. Let me back up. The main meetup that I really want to go to is ASD. ASD is that's held in Vegas twice a year. They just had one this month, August, and they have it, I think, in March of next year. So that's one of the main meetups I want to go to because there you're going to get to meet all types of distributors, liquidators, people that's selling all kind of goods that can, that you could source from. But for as the eBay, the Walmart. Now the Walmart, I watched, they actually did a live where you could watch it from your laptop or computer.
Okay.
So I watched that and listen to some of the speeches and stuff. But I've never been to an eBay meetup. I did watch those videos that you speak of where people, you know, try to go there and have their own little thing going on, you know, meetups, whatever. But no, to answer Bill on the short, I've never been to any of that type stuff.
Well, we're going to definitely have to get Buffalo to the Nashville meetup at least.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I mean,
Nashville.
I got invited. I got invited this year. What's her name? Squirrel.
Rural Squirrel.
Is she
Kristen?
from North Georgia?
No.
Oh, okay. This lady
she's actually in Colorado, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so this lady, she's in North Georgia, up by Ball Ground. She invited me to go. She went up to this year's meetup, and
you think it's Mimi?
Her name is Vanessa.
Okay.
Vanessa. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, she invited me to go up there, but I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll probably, just pass on it. But the most things that I try to get out to is toy shows. Have y'all been to the toy show over in Stone Mountain?
No.
We went to one toy show in Smyrna.
We did.
It was in Smyrna. And I'm a very claustrophobic person, which is funny because being in the Navy, it kind of didn't equate. But I got some stories about that too. But it was really, really crowded. People were bumping into each other. You couldn't really see a lot of stuff. And a lot of the stuff that we see is the same thing from booth to booth to booth to booth.
Oh,
it's very hard to pick up.
That was definitely a smaller.
It was definitely a smaller one too. It was in a small venue and stuff. But we'll head out there.
Was it Toylanta?
I don't remember. It was, that was a good 5-6 years ago. I really don't remember, but it was just like booth after booth of everybody pretty much looked like the same at that point. Funko Pops that were super hot.
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead to the Shine the Light section where we spotlight live sellers at 3 different levels based on sales and followers. Our first seller we're going to spotlight is Jose Rivera. He is J Rivera 1298 over on First Class Treasures on the District platform. He currently has 268 sales and has 8 live shows so far. He is an everything seller and a former Navy veteran.
Yep.
Our question for you on this is, do you think that sourcing is something you should look at differently when you're buying for one platform versus another?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. So if you're gonna sell on eBay, then you definitely could be good at sourcing estate sales, garage sales, yard sales, that type of stuff. But if you're gonna sell on Walmart, Amazon, you definitely got to get the new goods because you're not going to be able to move that type of stuff that you find. You may find 1 or 2 items that new in the box or whatever and try to sell it on those platforms. But you got to keep in mind, if something happens, and this is why I try to always remember, if something happened with that item and the customer try to make a complaint or whatever, Amazon gonna come back and ask you where your invoice at for that item.
Right.
They don't want to see your store receipt. I have had a couple cases that I did have to fight with my store receipt, but I did have a store receipt. You go to a yard sale, garage sale, you got no receipt.
Right.
So you have to keep that in mind that, it's a good new item, but what if somebody says it's counterfeit? And on Walmart or Amazon, you could lose your whole account on that, just because of the fact you can't produce anything to say, I got this from a big box store, reputable store that they don't sell counterfeit. So you definitely have to keep that in mind when you're sourcing, and I have, I'm not going to say I haven't done it. I have been to a garage sale and I find somebody selling some new items never been used, and I comped it and I'm like, okay, this sale good on Amazon, and I sold it on Amazon, took the chance. But that was back when I was new. Now
Right.
that I know better, I don't do that kind of stuff. If I find something that's in new condition at the garage sale or estate sale, when I do get out to those, I'm going to sell it on eBay. Or now I'll sell it on whatnot.
I love that.
So
Our growing seller. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, you just got to be conscious of that when you out making these type purchases. Is that what is the policy on your platform that you're selling on?
Right.
You know what? I don't think anybody in all of our interviews yet has literally said that about learning about the policy of the platform before you do on that. So that's some great advice, because we've had some really good sourcers on here. Our growing seller is Amanda Fireball Flipper. She sells on Whatnot with 2,000 in sales and 3.5 thousand followers. She loves selling kids' books, which I don't know how she does that, because I can't sell kids' books to save my damn life. And she loves selling them on Whatnot. She was also the first person that invited Tracy and I to do a birthday raid train, which it was such an honor for us, for somebody to ask to do a raid train that's very personal like that. Have you ever considered, or have you ever done raid trains on Whatnot?
No. I haven't. I've seen them, but I haven't. I just what you call it when people send people to your show? Is that
raid?
A raid? That's a raid, not a raid train, right?
Right.
Yeah, if it's just your own standalone show and you're done with your show and you then raid into somebody else, that's just a raid. A raid train is just a block of time.
Yeah, I've been raided by shows, but I never been with a raid train, but I heard of them. The person I heard it from a few months ago was Philly Flipper talking about it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. He hosted one. Well, let me go ahead and do this then real quick, because I want to be groundbreaking here.
Okay, break some ground.
I'm gonna break some ground. Buff, I'm gonna ask you to be a part of our raid train. Tracy and I do one raid train a year. That's it. We only do one. It's on Veterans Day, and it is a thank you for your service Veterans Day raid train. They're 10-minute slots. You don't got to sell nothing. You don't got to.
You can if you want.
You can if you want, but you don't have to. And I want to invite Buffalo Picker and the lovely Miss Buffalo Picker, because she's the one that, by the way, is doing the Whatnot. I have yet to see Tom. I hear him. I'm in the show, but I've yet to see him actually on Whatnot.
She the face of the Whatnot show.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
But I would love to have you on there. You don't have to say yes. You don't have to say no. But it is just a Veterans Day raid train, and I definitely am reaching out to veterans.
I would love to do it. Just send me the information, and I'll be there.
Awesome.
Oh, you got it, my friend. You got it.
And then we have one more seller we're going to spotlight this week. This is what we consider an established seller, which is kind of a larger size seller. This is Cassaundra 0328, aka Cassie or Cassaundra. She sells with her daughter, and they are on Whatnot in the storage unit categories, and they have 31.7 thousand sales and 22.3 thousand followers. They're also premier sellers. Our question for her is: do you find it easier?
Not for her. You're asking.
Right.
You're asking Tommie, not her.
Is working with Mrs. Buffalo on your Whatnot show making live selling easier?
Yes. Very, very much so. Her patience is better than mine. So for me, I probably could be in front of the camera selling for maybe a good hour, and then after that, I would probably need to tap out. It'd probably be like, because if I didn't have somebody to tag in, it'll be the end of the show for me. I probably could only be in front of that camera, doing what she do for about an hour.
That's my limit too.
How she interact with the audience and stuff like that. My mindset would be just making the sale.
Right.
Where her mindset is she making the sale along with interacting, and bringing people, making them feel comfortable with coming into our show. Yes,
she does a great job with it too. Not taking anything away from Tommie But his wife is phenomenal on there. She got me bidding on stuff that I'm just sitting there going like, why am I bidding on this? I don't need this, but I'm gonna bid on it anyway. I'm just hoping I make my money back on it, which I have.
Right.
We are going to put links down below for all three of the sellers so you can check them out. Follows are free, so let's help them grow.
Yeah, and it's going to be a link down there to Buffalo Pickers channel, so you can definitely check that one out. Now is the time for us to turn the tables. This is where we're going to allow our amazing guest, Tommie, over there, to ask us any question that they would like to know about Jack's Treasures, or Tracy or I.
Oh, Tracy or you?
You can ask either one.
Oh, okay, so all right. So my first question for Jack is a real simple one. How long did you serve in the Navy, and what was the major ship that you was on?
Well, I served in the Navy from 1989 to 1993, so I did a full 4-year tour. I was going to do a full 20. I had just got married before I went into the military. Not to Tracy, to my first wife. And I went from South Florida to California. And one of the first things that I noticed when we did our first deployment, and it was on this ship right here, the USS Downs.
All right.
Okay. When we did our first deployment, the first thing that I noticed was how many people were screwing around on their wives. And how many of the chiefs that had been in the military for a long time were either 1, alcoholics, and 2, divorced. And I said, well, I don't really want none of that right there. I loved my time in the Navy, and I would have done 20 years if they would have stayed on that ship. They decommed the ship in 92, and I went to another ship called the USS England. And when I went to that one, it was a totally different atmosphere. It was totally different. I always tell people the Navy and the military is one thing. Whatever you put in, you're going to get out. You put really good stuff in there and you don't give a lot of attitude and you just look for the great stuff that you're going to do, like traveling and seeing the world and all that stuff, you're going to get a lot of that back. And you'll look over all of the stuff that people do, awful things or just play stupid things that they do in the military. Right. But if you concentrate on that, that's what you're going to get out of it. And I always tell people, I say, concentrate on the good stuff. So I ended up doing just the 4 because I didn't want to get a divorce and I didn't want to become an alcoholic. And I ended up getting a divorce. But that was just a different thing. And then I ended up marrying Tracy, which was just that was the best thing that ever came out of that. But I loved my time in serving and living in San Diego, California in 1989, because that's during the Persian Gulf War. That's right when it started.
Right.
So I never put boots on the ground. One of my best friends who joined with me, he did. And he served for and it was funny. He was only going to do 4 and he did 20, and I was going to do 20 and I only did 4. Right.
Yeah, I served in 1990. I was over there, and I got to serve with a unit of CBs. There was some CBs there with the engineers. And those guys were like way cool, Yes. Yeah. So yeah, man.
But now I'm not even cool. He never watches our videos, never comes to our whatnot, and now I'm not even part of the cool part of the Navy. Why
man, come on, Jack. I ain't say none of that now, but I will be watching. I definitely be watching your videos.
You don't have to, Tommie. I'm just busting your chops.
Yeah.
I absolutely love watching your shows. I love popping in because
you always give
me a good shout.
Right.
And when I go into your shows, I swear nobody on your show would think I'm this little small guy that's a little small seller. Everyone when I pop into your shows, they think I'm the biggest person that just walked into the room. And I'm like, no, not at all. I'm not monetized. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers.
I told you with my story, I got you like Bigfoot over there, man. You come in the room, they thinking they seeing Bigfoot. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, with that little story right there, it was impactful. That's why I made a video about it.
I love it.
I had never seen that before. When you came in and did what you done, I was like, man, who is this guy about the whole house? So yeah, it left an impression on me. So, and at the same time, my mindset was I want to be like him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So my question, do I get a question for Tracy?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
go ahead.
Okay, all right. So my question for you, Tracy, is what communications from Jack that made him made you fall for him when y'all met at that?
I like this one. Hold on, I'm gonna sit back on this one.
Well, we knew each other a good 6 or 7 years before we started being interested. I was actually married to someone else, and after my divorce,
I had nothing to do with it.
No. But
I have to put that disclaimer out.
After I divorced, and we still saw each other on occasion because we had a lot of the same friends. We just kind of started texting, and I would say probably the thing that got me was he would send me songs that meant things to him, and he was wooing me with the music.
Yeah, I was an awful flirt. I was terrible.
Yeah,
it's a miracle we got together.
It is. Neither of us were good at that.
Hey, the thing about it is, though, Jack, the end result, it worked.
Absolutely. But yeah, we definitely bonded over music, and him just sending me songs that meant a lot to him, and I kind of got to see a lot of who he was inside because of that.
Right.
I love music. I love all types of music. I can listen. When I run a show and Whatnot, thank God Whatnot literally says you're not supposed to have music playing, because we stream over to YouTube. And, with YouTube, you're not allowed to use copyrighted music, but I got music playing. We just got to keep it down on the down low, because I have got to have that. It makes me feel better and just gets me into more of a mood to be active, to be selling, to be energetic when we do sell. Thank you, Tommie, for all of those amazing questions. So that was amazing. Thanks for being our guest, Tommie the Buffalo Picker. Guys, check him out on all of his channels. There'll be links down there below. We're still working on our guest for next week, so we can't confirm anything yet. But I'm sure it's going to be another awesome seller. We got some great ideas. We do have a lot of people lined up. D Middleman is one of them. He is one of the ones that we have now pigeoned in to be a one of our guests. And one of the biggest questions that we do have, I just took your whole line,
you
didn't I?
But go for it.
I just took your whole part, didn't I?
I will do the last section. We're good.
Our last question that we have for Tommie the Buffalo Picker is probably the biggest one, but what does the future hold for Buffalo Picker?
Okay, so what I have on the horizon, which kind of had a delay, not a denial. I was basically in the process of building my own warehouse, and environmental came out and they discovered something that was in the ground that has to be removed before I could build in that space. So it pretty much set me back. Like I said, it was a delay and not a denial, but on the horizon, my major move, which I will, do some YouTube videos to kind of keep people in the loop, is build my own warehouse, 1,500 square foot in my backyard, and run my business from there. And that was pretty much to be like, the last major move that I'm gonna make with outside of sourcing now. With my business, where I have it right here, I can walk out the garage into the warehouse or the back door, and run my business from there.
That is awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Buffalo Picker, for being on with us. And everybody who's watching, if you like what you see, drop some comments down below, likes, shares, etc., etc. As always, help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide and the Naughty Cat Cafe, which are two charities very close to our heart.
And the Naughty Cat Cafe is not a strip club. It is it is a cat rescue. We want to make sure that we talk about that. Run by a lovely husband and wife team in Chattanooga. And of course, I support Stop Soldier Suicide. Over 20 soldiers, former soldiers a day are committing suicide. I'm not talking about dying of natural causes, but taking their own life. So if anything that you can do to help Stop Soldier Suicide, we would appreciate that.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week on Jack's Treasures. What? Not another reselling podcast.